So who is here? Stephen D. Brown is here, Fan Plan, Steve Wardley, Bonnie, The Turtle Moves, Simon Neep, Just Me, Fred Smith, Tikimo, Rifleman, Peter Harkins, China North Air Guns is here, Chipmunks here, Justin Thomas, Fanatico, Kevin Hardesty, Boobla, Tom Houston, N. Osborne, and it's started. Greetings, technical family, it is time for a stream. Let's start off with the completely pointless fake sterilization. I do have a UVC sterilizer though now. A little USB powered one. I think it looks a bit shit actually, but not to worry. Scanning. Someone's suggesting that I put a video up where I just show the ultraviolet light, and I have considered putting a video up where I just show a picture of a UVC lamp lit in the video. But I just know people would actually start reporting the video because it was causing damage to their eyesight with the UVC radiation. Yes, it would happen. We just know that. They'd say, my face was itching after I watched your video. You should have warned me that harmful ultraviolet energy was going to come through my video monitor. It doesn't. I shall level the camera off tiny little bit. That's a little bit. So if you're just joining the stream, remember to check that your little live indicator is lit, because sometimes if the stream is still running, it might start at the beginning, and then you'd be leaving chat comments and they'd be appearing much later in the stream, which is a bit weird, but it's amusing. We can work out where you are in the stream when that happens. It's just how it works. Have you got fave UVC stuff? And compare with the genuine test you're getting, Treasure Bloke. I'm waiting for some test cards coming. My favourite UVC thing is one of the compact fluorescent lamps that has the UVC tubes. X-rays are worse. They are, Felix Moore. Did you stop carbonating? Well, I can carbonate more. There's no limit to the carbonation. Glad to see the Gannon board is back. Indeed, Zap Sparky, it is back. And the moving message sign is now through there. Jerry rigged up. How are the kittens doing, Max Urban? Little Hutchie was by today for snacks, as she frequently does. Anyway, make fizzy wine. I've made fizzy wine, Fan Plant, but not now because, because, well, you know what happens when I drink fizzy wine? I say things and then have to delete the videos so that Karens can't weaponize them against me. Good evening, ZX Renew. Any orange stuff? No. Nothing immediately comes to mind. There is a little orange post-it note here. I'm not sure what it says on it. Can I show it? No, I can't, because it's got a password on it. Not that it's a terribly good password. It would get you to access to the furniture that I had purchased a while ago. It sucks we can't just have fun, Weezerbox. That is true. Mouse says, read a study where a university was fitted with 5G and they collected reports of ill health, equipment problems, headaches, etc. They're reporting to some detail about 5G never been switched on. Yeah, I know. It's just... managed to slip in the pink lamp video is now made and will be going up after this video, after this live stream. And it does manage to slip in the death beam capacitor, because there's a death beam capacitor in it. Got to beam out those things. Renewed the beer diet? No, not yet. I should, because it is still... It's getting a white patch and white up there. I've not Jägermunioned. I'm not going to Jägermunion Karens because, like, them. Indeed. What will I Jägermunion? That's a tricky one. Things that are worthy of Jägermunioning. I'm not really sure. Is it possible to bypass the 2082 chip on LED bulb? If you're talking the linear current regulator, I wouldn't recommend it. Otherwise, lots of current will flow. Jaeger the Chinese, the balloon. So, apparently, a satellite-looking balloon is floated across military, special secret military places. Oh, look, we can see a balloon over there. Therefore, it's past our military base. Did I mention Google balloon? But anyway, to the Chinese balloon. Good luck on your balloon, Chinese people. Because Google's been putting up balloon satellites for a very long time. I don't know if that project is still ongoing. Now we've got Starlink. But it's always useful to have options in case the government gets all up their own ass. As they do. The balloon has been shot down, has it? Ah, boo. It's a large, but three bus-sized balloon. That's lovely. I wonder what they found. I think they probably just shot it down for the fun of it. Does this mean the Chinese can now shoot down the Google balloons? Did you change the chat colours or did Google do that? Monkey Man here. I'm only getting grey, but other people are saying they're getting colours. I don't know. All I'm seeing here is grey. The only ones that are distinctive are moderator type names. Balloon is now a jigsaw. It is. Fluttering down, Stinky Mo. What will they find? Is this not just going to be when Russia put up the Sputnik and all it did was go beep and that was it? And they were all like, oh, it's a space thing and it's going to kill us all because it's the Russians. Yes, indeed. Minor grey at night time. Maybe you've changed your settings locally to, I'm not sure why it would be coloured anyway. Maybe it depends where you are. I think Google shut down Project Loon. I could understand that, Simon Allen, because it served its purpose, but ultimately it's tested, it's able to be deployed, but Starlink kind of kiboshed that when they put up the satellites for communication. It was designed to give internet access in places that people couldn't get normal access, large areas. Was a special beep. Uncle Kim's balloon could have been. What they don't know is by shooting the balloon, they've unreleased radioactive gas. Dun dun dun. YouTube may be rolling stuff out to various places piecemeal as usual. That's possible as well. Do you know that they should have filled the balloon with oxyacetylene? All Russians killed were children and elder people. Fadate. Not sure what that bit is. I'd rather nobody was dying. I'd rather the people that instigated the war were dying instead of just masses of kids being sent into war and just shooting up people's neighborhoods. It's not very clever, is it? Was that a real pink lamp or just white lamp with pink cover, Frank? That's what we covered in the video. Spoilers. Pink body, pink cover, cold white LEDs. Boring, and not even the standard circuit. Little buck regulator. Acetylene is heavy, Martin Pell. Well, we'll just have to drop it on the ground and blow it up then. Was the pink light bulb heavy? It's not. It's fairly lightweight. No, they can just stop it, Mr. Eggcake. So the temperature, I went down the Turkish oil wrestling rabbit hole today. My eyes are sore, DCL, and it's very odd and very gay. The Turkish are very interesting because in their religious guides, they actually just removed the whole homosexuality thing in the 1800s. So technically speaking, that means that for all the image of it being, a homophobic country, it makes the UK look positively brutal instead, and the Isle of Man looks even worse. Pudding wrestling rules. It's more edible, Weaselbox. The oil wrestling is just very perverted. It's very popular with bears because, well, it looks a bit gay. Just bearish men just all slathered in oil, rolling on top of each other. It's bizarre. I've not really seen much of it. It's not my thing. Turkey's a nice location to DCL, and I've never been there. Balloon went over Minuteman 3 silo. Willy Cat. Minus 31 degrees Celsius. Very mild here, Chris Elzinga. In fact, the indoor temperature is over 12 degrees Celsius and therefore swelteringly hot. Same for pudding wrestling here, except it's girls, Weaselbox. I think there is actually sport involved in the Turkish one, though. I can imagine the pudding wrestling with girls is probably just basically sliding about all over each other while people jack off. That's what it sounds like. Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? No, Brad Robshaw. I can just imagine what happens in there. Women wrestling is brutal. Well, pseudo memes, yes, it is staged. Outside's basically stupid right now. -3C. Oh, right, okay. It's not too bad. The Lingerie league football is the bizarrest thing. It's real football, but in lingerie. And they're quite aggressive to each other. It's bizarre. I've not killed anyone that I know of this week. My purpose is to save lives and not kill people. Greetings at Walter and Charlie in Oregon. Woof, it says Walter Russell. Greetings back. Do you like movies about gladiators? No. Ah. Are LED light therapy masks snake oil? Yes, they are, Legacy Depot. They've been around for a long time. The first ones were 660 nanometer because that was the brightest, cheapest LED you could get back then. And as the frequency changed, miraculously, the research has shown that different frequencies are better depending on the easiest and cheapest availability of LEDs. What's a bit ridiculous is the masks that are sold by the high-profile beauty companies that you can only use it for X number of times and then it locks out the mask. So you have to pay for further use of the mask. So it gives it out in portions. Greetings back to Venezuela. Andy Frank Luna Morales. Just hear the pink lamp, Clive. GRSCO1. The pink lamp is actually through there. I should go and get the pink lamp. When do we get an orange stream? When I can find an orange lamp. Looks nice enough. Isn't even glued together. Bit disappointing, I have to say. Very minimalist-ish, but in a way more complex than current lamps. But it is a genuine universal voltage lamp. It will operate at the same output power theoretically from 110 volts to 204 volts. Rabs Dioramas, good that you're here. Orange lamp, how about DIY sodium lamp ballast? Well, Fanatico, I'm not sure about DIY. That it really does require, unless you went for an electronic one, which is complex, and that's also kind of, if you're talking low pressure sodium, it's very yellow. I just saw a similar thing in a light hair removal device. There's lots of quackery. It's always been about, and a lot of it's sold in Walgreens and Boots the chemist. It's all being sold in high profile shops that shouldn't really be selling shit like that, but they do. What kind of secret society mask is this, Black? It's a mask that you wear over your face, and it's got the wee eye holes and the mouth hole. It's all a bit creepy in the nose hole. And it's got loads of LEDs, and it lights up and energizes your skin with light. Or you could just go into the fucking sunshine and get a shit ton more light. But even in winter, you're going to get more in daylight. It's just ridiculous. How's the temperature, Big Toe? It's a balmy 12 degrees Celsius. How's the flight back? It was okay, a bit bumpy and choppy, but it was okay. It wasn't too bad. I declined to go for a cup of tea this time, so he gave me 2 cookies instead. A caramel wafer and a piece of shortbread. DC Allen says I can make one at home for nothing. Indeed. I did make light pucks experimentally. My brother was having problems with his shoulder, mainly because he lifted coffins a lot. And he tried it and said it helped, but to be honest, I think it was just the heat and the psychological effect. I think you must be nocturnal, judging by when you post the videos, Julian Stafford. You may be right. Although I've been getting to bed earlier, like 4 a.m., which is pretty good. It is Loganair, Brian Cox. Quite like Loganair. Very down to earth, very, almost a bit characteristically Scottish. But it's fine. They've also got the wee dive bombers that always fly, just no matter what the weather, they're going to go up. And that can be a bit of a nightmare. I've had rough flights, horrific ones. You might say he did a lot of deadlifting. He does, pseudo memes. He's certainly lifted a lot of dead people and got them down spiral staircase and things like that. Not joyous. He doesn't do that anymore. All he does is the chemical embalming, so he doesn't have to lift dead people anymore. They're in trolleys. Did they find your purple bulb? What? Dan Sardvarks? Purple bulb? I was introduced to Biscoff Lotus on a flight. Ralphman, do you mean the Lotus Biscoff biscuits? They're quite nice. The caramelized cookies, they're nice. They're served with coffee. No to scary flights, or new to scary flights, Visa Box. The worst flight, I honestly thought the plane was going to snap in half. How many seats you take up on a plane? Just one, but I choose. These days, I pay the tiny little bit extra that lets you choose a seat just so I can get one in the aisle. It does several things. It gives you a bit more luggage allowance, not that I really use it. It lets you change your flight if something happens, so you can just nudge it and you'll only pay the difference in flight. But most importantly, it lets you choose your seat, and I always choose an aisle one because being up against the window for the whole flight like that is just horrible. It's terrible. The seats aren't designed for big people. But I'd usually get a seat to myself, the two seats, but not that it's needed. Sometimes someone does sit to me if it's a busy flight, but if it's a quiet flight, it's fairly quiet because it was a quiet flight. The green supercomputer looks like a starfish got stuck. Yes, indeed. That's Mousie's little starputer. Marvin TP Android says, I lift dead people. Excellent. The human nervous system is very responsive to 1650 hertz. Jonathan Hughes, that is true. Very unpleasant. You've been looking at Styropyro's video. That he put a lot of work into that and put his equipment at high risk because there are so many variables with Tesla coils. Always sit in the back, they never reverse into mountains. Indeed, JBVR. I always tend to go for the middle of the plane, to be honest. Probably the worst bit. It's the bit that'll snap in half. There's Mouse putting a link to it. Flash things on Etsy and Tindy. Treating myself to a shiny new soda rework station, says Dilbert. Is there another way to test confirm correct temperature settings without a proper tester? Yeah, just go by feel with the soldier arm. Set it to the correct temperature. If it flows in sodas, that's good. If it just feels like it's not flowing as well as it should, just bump the temperature up 10 degrees Celsius and try again. Just get the point it's comfortable for you. Oh, have we got a sex bot already? That's excellent. That's very good. Those ones, you can delete them. You can block them as well, I think, Mouse, just for reference. Is that one of the ones that I unlocked? I just basically emptied the bin of blocked users. But these things, I don't know if it's one of the same ones or if it's they've just used the random number and name generator. Not to touch the iron with your fingers, it kind of go feel. No, beyond curing. That's not recommended. Did you know Freddie Truman was married to Raggle Welsh? I did not. I don't really follow stuff like that. Could you sterilise again? I was late, says Palmet. Well, I'm afraid you're just going to have to be unsterile. I can do an express sterilisation with the wand. Never used it for its intended purpose, which is hunting leaks of fluorescent things. Scanning. Ooh. Which one is YouTube going to use for the thumbnail? That's the question. Am I getting a tan yet? Probably not. Our moderator is so good I don't get to see the sex bot, Rifleman. It was jumped on very quickly by Mouse. Mouse jumped on a sex bot. Thank you, Finnick Tech. Much appreciated. Have you released any magic smoke recently? I'm surprised that I've not. I was probably around that lamp while the power was on, while being dazzled by the LEDs. I was waiting for it to go bang. Tano says, could you greet my girlfriend Jay? She has birthday today. Happy birthday, Jay. Hope you have a good day. Top Smoke putting in bits of weird code. What? Strange. You look like the nude guy from the start of World in Action, Brad Robshaw. Really? Scotsman doesn't tan, we don't tan, we burn Zorro's Oxter. Can you move my window AC unit for me, Clive? No, I can't, because I don't even know where you are, John Possum. Please light the pink light bulb, Kevin Hardesty. I can light it if you wish. Have you ever done a project Nixie tubes? No, Bean. I was tempted in the early days, but now they've become so fashionable. The price has just gone through the roof. It's ridiculous. So that nixed that project. Need that. Wouldn't need that for a while. That was needed in the peak of winter. It's a little plug-in, one of the little plug-in heaters that heats your house in minutes. It's ideal for warming the bench. Screwing the pink lamp. Not doing a very good job of screwing the pink lamp. This has just made me think of something that's hilarious. Ooh, pink. Pink lamp. Pink. Lovely. Jonathan King has a beta profile. Okay. Project MGTF. Strong beer game. Mine gets in the way when I'm working. Oh, it's bound. It's jumped. No, it's really jumped. I always read that. Hold on. No, I've lost that. Completely. Mine gets in the way when I'm working the car. It's a curse, right? Project MGTF. You've not discovered the just stuffing the beard inside gets it out the way and changes the appearance of it. What are the analytics in female subscribers, Paul Byerly? Terrible. It's something like 2 or 3%. It yo-yos up and down, but not a lot of viewers are female. It's just stereotypical. It's just, there's no, it's bizarre. Fortunately, the females that do subscribe make up for it by being super technical. I think some women are just born super technical. Bang, you did the tear down the UV lamp. I got one for finding leaks and it works quite well. Sean not telling. That's good to know. Katrina says, I think there are about 3 of us. Indeed. Reddit Force, I sometimes use a regular neck scarf to restrain my long hair. That's reasonable enough. Poll male or female? I already know the answer. It's ridiculously biased towards males. It's just stereotypical. I'm not sure why. I don't think these days that, you know, women are encouraged away from technical subjects. I just think they naturally don't want to follow them. Dunno. The females are all so upset you're unattainable, Graham Rule. Well, that's just how it goes. Most technical females are male. Yes. There's also that twist that some of them are neither male nor female. There is definitely a intermediate level. Self or attracted to? Norm Swan. What? The Rover-style spy balloon was shot down tonight. I see. That was mentioned earlier on. Chinese balloon, Chinese balloon. So, what was I thinking? Oh, yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I got this thing. This is a vape device. It's a rechargeable vape device, but it's a disposable but a rechargeable. So it contains X amount of liquid, but you can recharge this small battery several times. And it's got the ridiculously bright panel on it. And it's nicotine free. But this makes me really think. It makes me so suspicious about the flavorings they're using because unlike other... well, you know that I used to think that the reason that the disposable vapes were so strong was because the nicotine in them. Because if you take it in the mouth and then blow it through the nose, it burns the nose a bit. Gives a strong minty sensation. That is presumably Coolada because if I do it with this one, which has no nicotine, it has the exact same effect. And it's so potent, you might as well be breathing air freshener. I am worried about the amount of flavorings they're putting in these. That's going to cause a problem. And one of the most common flavorings is colada. Is that going to be the next diacetyl? Is what I'm wondering. Who tested the circuit this week and then saw it wasn't plugged in? Top smoke. That's like me probing with a meter and then realizing it's not on. Is it woofle time? It is woofle time. White Sapphire has spotted that it is woofle time. In goes the woofle juice. Woofle juice. People who are new to the stream not really knowing what's going on at this point. On goes the woofle activation rod. Woofle. Woofling. Winter woofles. They're the best woofles. Oh, that's gone a bit down the side. Woofle. Splendid. Isn't diacetyl banned by the TDP in the UK? I hope so. For those who don't know what diacetyl is, it's a flavouring that used to be associated with popcorn. The buttery strong. It was derived from dairy, which makes me more suspicious about the lactase or something that the colada is associated with. Thank you, Pamit. Much appreciated. Thanks, BC. You've many, many, many years of vids on YouTube. I have. Certainly one of YouTube's foundation deserve a play button. Well, the gold one hopefully happens, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, the diacetyl, popcorn lung. The factory workers that were exposed to the buttery popcorn for so long developed irreparable lung problems because this dairy-derived flavouring extract, when breathed in large quantities, caused permanent lung damage. Pretty horrible. That makes me think that given the strength of the chemicals they're putting in these, it's basically doing research to find out which chemicals will cause adverse lung reactions. If I'm going to puff in anything, I've got my own version, which is very low flavour, if much at all, and also very low nicotine, so it's just basically glycerin and propylene glycol. Bill Richards, that backfired on the tobacco industry. They tried to use that against vaping devices by raising awareness of the fact that they may contain diacetyl, and it was probably in all of them, and it was like killing people. And then it was found that, well, tobacco cigarettes contain more diacetyl than any vaping flavour did. Thank you, DGS. Is that supercomputer using little pygmy bulbs? No, it is using 5mm LEDs. It's not that far away. It may look in the distance, but it's not in the distance. It'd be quite nice with the acetone 2, Clive, Lee T. Well, they're doing a lot of research on what things can be breathed in or not. Having said that, have you ever walked into an old lady's house, not that I do that very often, and they've got air fresheners everywhere to the point your eyes are watering? Oh, there was a woman with perfume on the plane, and my eyes were stinging when she sat down in the vicinity because of the amount of perfume. That can't do her much good. But the air fresheners, the little plugs that give off the vapour, that's oil. That's kerosene that's coming out of those. Or a variant of kerosene. Yes, indeed, Madam Bally. It's not that far away. Looks like a big room. Isn't a big room. It's actually a little corridor. It's an illusion. Your house is an old lady's house with air fresheners everywhere. Oh, there are lots of air fresheners here, B2311E, but they're not plugged in. Anytime I plug one in, it lasts about an hour or two before I have to unplug it again. Why make LEDs in different sizes when the parts inside are about 0.01mm wide? Fanatical. I'm not really sure, but in the early days, the LED packages would use the same designation as lamps in eighths of an inch. So the 3mm LED is 1/8 of an inch, and technically speaking, I suppose the 5mm LED, that's close to 2/8 of an inch-ish. Or that'd be 6mm, probably 6mm, don't know. But they used to have odd numbers like that. I do live in an old lady's house. Well, an old lady used to live here. Their kitchen is still full of her kitcheny things that old ladies have because they watch the television marketing and just buy everything. What's up with your hand, Scruff Dog? The hand, the cut and things like that. The knuckle is healing now, but it cut. It cracked. The skin cracked, and also it cracked there. But that's other. This hand's all right. This one was all cracked. Just a winter thing. Isle of Man is 3 times bigger than Hisingen Island. Okay, Olaf Palmolja. Is that the old lady's wallpaper? It is the old lady's wallpaper. I'm not really into changing wallpaper. It seems like sticking paper to a wall just seems a bit pointless if you ask me. Have you ever seen the classic thing that you see pictures of people in their homes and you see upstairs and the women's bit of the house is all lovely wallpaper and everything's matched, and then downstairs in the garage where the guy is, basically the plasterboard, the sheetrock went on, and it may have been taped or it may not have been taped. That's it. That's it. That's the finished surface sheetrock. Plasterboard. Horovac, I have the exact same condition. It happens all the time. My hands are pretty good, actually, compared to what they used to be. Colin Crowley, I use super glue and cracks my skin. I tried that. I'm not sure if that helps or not, but lots of things. It certainly gives some relief. I don't know if it makes it worse for a while. Don't know. But putting the sticky plaster around. In the videos, I used the sticky plaster just so people didn't get squirmy when they saw the big crack with the sort of, red juicy bit in the middle. But it's kind of caused irritation of the skin around it. Mine is white walls with furry posters covering it. I see, Katie. I've tried O'Keeffe's Working Hands cream. Shall not tell. I'm surprised just how expensive it is for what is basically a fairly ordinary glycerin cream. Maybe I'm just being pedantic here. When did LEDs come out? Did they come out in the 70s? New Rock Boy. Oh, I'm not sure when I got my first LED, but they were special when I got my first one. A green one. Went to Marshall's Electronic Components in West Regent Street. No, it was yes, it was Marshall's. And the lady behind the counter brought over the LEDs they had. And there was one diamond shaped one in red, and I wanted that one. My mum said no because it was really expensive. So I got a green one. What I do remember is it lit, for a green LED, this is really odd, it lit, because I used it wrongly, across a D cell, a 1.5 volt cell, and the green glowed. That's really odd for a green. They usually have a much higher voltage. The deer stuff the Norwegian flag on is the only stuff that works. Indeed, Top Smoke. Wasn't it sold to another company and then they changed it? The Norwegian Fisherman's or cream or whatever it is. But the first ones were more, they've been around for a while. The first one was invented about 1962, but in the early days they were very, very dim. Where is that pack of LEDs? I've got some really old LEDs somewhere, and they look like 1N4148 diodes. Well, I'll show you a 1N4148 diode, because that's a good reference. They look like this, but they're actually an LED in the little diode package. And they glow very dimly, but they glow 360 degrees. They were used in circuit boards for diagnostic indicators. I'm sure red, yellow, green, and yellow and green LEDs in about 1980. Yes, Matt Rutter, they were used as common indicators back then. The early blue LEDs were silicon carbide licensed to drive. They took a lot of current and they were very dim, and that was a washed out whitey blue. But they were fine. And then gallium nitride happened. But you know the difference. Gallium nitride LEDs are not as rugged as the older technologies. Oh, now we're reminiscing. Happy Little Fox, was your first LED an orange one? Really? But the original yellow and green, the yellow was always a pale color and the green was not efficient, but it was a nice soft apple green. I used many of those dyed packaged LEDs in the 1970s, EKAA. They're quite hard to get. I bought some packets of them. Ah. The modern blue LEDs are very bright. Jake says I must be banned. I don't think you're banned, Jake. I can see your message here. Um, the blue LEDs, you can underrun them greatly and to get the brightness down, but the blue is quite a piercing colour. Superdrug nappy cream is great and costs next to nothing. That's probably zinc oxide cream with oil. Yeah. I had a Philips Electronics kit. Did it have LEDs in it? Not sure. Must have. Or did it have lamps? Tungsten lamps? Not sure. Russian inventor Oleg Losev reported creation of the first LED in 1927. Okay, Ludger's film. The LEDs, Grant, they cost a tenner at first, Grant Rennie, because they certainly weren't affordable to use in projects. And then, of course, they appeared on eBay in bulk from Best Hong Kong at a really good price, but the postage was ridiculous, and they wouldn't combine the postage because they were making all the money in the postage. And they were the factory reject crap from China. But they worked. Is it me or are blue LEDs hard to read? They are, Naomi Barron, because they're it doesn't convey much visual information. It's a nice colour, but it doesn't convey much positional information. Red is apparently one of the best, with yellow being the brightest because it's in the middle of, well, near the middle of the sensitivity, the yellowy greeny area. All my comments disappear from your normal videos. Get your spin. You're not blocked, as far as I know. Are you leaving rude comments, or have you got a history of leaving weird comments in other videos? It's possible that you're just basically being shadow banned, but it's not me who's doing it. I can only think of about 2 people who are blocked. 1, maybe. Only 1 really comes to mind that is blocked that would have been a normal YouTube user, because he repeatedly really aggressively attacked other people in the comments. So, and I blocked him, and then later on, just in case he was going through a spell, I unblocked him, and then he just started tearing into people again, really nasty comments, and I just blocked him again. I don't know what was up. I think they just had a problematic attitude. I don't think they were out there doing it out of malice like a troll. I think they were just quite a nippy sweetie, as we call it here. This thing, I can smell this thing on the bench. It's pink watermelon. It smells so strong. It's ridiculous. I'm going to put it out the way. Geez, why don't you just huff air fresheners? It's just too much. They could just get another account, Monkey Man here. They could. There's another person who was problematic who just basically left nasty comments, and as soon as you block them, they opened another account, and then you blocked them again, they opened another account, you blocked them again, they just kept doing it. Thank you, Mr. Planet Man. Yay, I'm not blocked. You're not blocked. What's the male version of a Karen? There is a name for it. Paul Byerly, but male Karens works as well. Was it Ralph? Maybe it was Ralph. Nippy Sweetheart. It's Nippy Sweetie. Sweetie as in like candy. Nippy Sweetie. I don't know why they call it a sweetie. I think it's because they're quite nice, but they've got a bit of a nip to them. Kevin, am I blocked? I am the Beelzebub. No, very few people are blocked. It's usually just trolls or, deliberate trolls who set up accounts to troll. It's really hard to get blocked on my channel. I mean, even Kirka's still allowed to post. Yhen in Scotland, DCN. What? Thank you, Kyle B. Happy birthday, Clive. Put this to a VR headset. The birthday was a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I almost bought a VR headset. And, I stalled because They only had the upmarket version, the enhanced memory one, which is a disproportionate price to the cost of the memory. Um, but now the base model costs the same as the one that I could have bought, so I'll give it a miss. It's fine. You never told, Fanatical. Oh, you know what? The birthday was in the Patreon stream. Sorry. Yep. I had the Patreon birthday stream because it was a Thursday. Looking forward to come back to this year. Absolutely. Well, I say that I'm freelance. Every year I say this. I won't ever say I'm doing the job until I'm there doing it, just because you never know. But I have been asked, so but that's no guarantee. Thank you, Meras Halan. Much appreciated. 58 for reference. No, not 75th. I did mention the Saturday stream too. Aha. For reference, it's not my birthday today. It was a couple of weeks ago. But hey, it's fine. Mary's severely belated birthday fanatical. That's reasonable enough. How old is your YouTube account to have got that username at Paul? You can have any name. You could call your channel BigClive.com or Ave. They during one of YouTube's moments, they decided that to stop people setting up troll accounts, they'd make them use their own name. But of course, people with a big channel didn't want to use their own name. So suddenly, because there are lots of people called John and Paul, then they allowed lots of Johns and Pauls. Is Ralph 80? He's not, Brad Robshaw. Give it a couple of months, Ralph will be 61. He's 60 at the moment. Oh, nuts and proud. Fitted a new tube, 40-watt tube, and it works fine. That's good to know. Greetings back to Germany, Dominic. Mr. Eggcake says, I use my own name. Indeed, Mr. Eggcake. Yes, you do. Your beard should have its own channel. This is the Beard's channel. It has to be this channel because everybody else unsubscribes and they see my face because I don't look like a sound. I'm supposed to be some lovely old man who loves meeting with his grandchildren and baking cakes with them and going to the cinema. It's people have this bizarre image. No. I'm a ugly mofo bear. One half of my buttock has died, Mr. Eggcake says. What are you sitting on? What's the pink thing in the parts drawer? That thing. That is powering the star. That is a power bank. You're lovely and not old. Why, thank you, Electron Box. Muppet Pastor, you're a lovely old man. I'm not sure about the old bit. It doesn't feel old yet. What were the orange streetlights called? They were the best and warmest. Best playing as a kid memories. JRSCO1. They were SOX. SOX, low pressure sodium. People expect a Scottish Mr. Rogers, Gandalf says, or a Mr. Kipling. I don't think Rugs is Mr. Eggcake, yes, but everybody has different opinions about how people look. Do you think June and Ken will drop by? I'm not really sure. June's not been by since I alluded to a ghostly apparition here, and then he's just never ever called by again. Oh, if I'd known that, it would be great. How many milliwatts does the hobby consume, Rex Lester? It's about 1 watt, its power consumption. It's pretty low. It's really very low. Did some mention cake? Indeed, Phil in the kitchen. Cake. I do blow up exceedingly good cakes. I pass electrical current through them, Bill Richards. I have fried a Mr. Kipling cake. I pictured you as a bald, grey-bearded and round. I was mostly wrong. BRM bug. Ah, that's the power of hair dye. Not all. It's like it's grey from here downwards, but the rest is sort of gingery up here with a couple of white tufts. But I put dye in it just because of that. June was by. Yes, Tom Houston. June is strange. I met June today. Thank you, Chris Gurr. Much appreciated. Tell me you saw Ghost near his house. No, Vera de Wolf. I did toy with doing that, but I think you'd take it too seriously. Why'd you move the clock? So I could put the supercomputer back up. Badger beard. Badger beards are good, the stripy beards. They're nice. A lot of people get the plumes. One of my friends locally, Matty, he's got the little white tufts coming in here in his beard. Clock looks better at the back. It does. It's also a different clock. It's a different panel. It's a smaller size. It's a P5 array. June doing all right? Yes, he is, BRM Bug. Is Tim Hortons coffee any good, Clive? It's okay, Lee Gooder, but I tell you what's not okay. Their automatic ordering system, I think it's running on a 286 computer or something like that. It's ridiculously slow to the point that you touch a button and it takes so long, nothing happens. You touch it again, and just at that point, it changes the screen that says your order's going through, and it's like, I hadn't completed it yet. That's shit. McDonald's, on the other hand, the only thing they need to do to improve them is get rid of the animation, just so when you touch a button, it changes immediately instead of doing that sort of fucking moving about everywhere that just wastes time. Quality comes with age. Well, I don't know about that, Muppet Pastor. Debauchery comes with age. How do you maintain your beard, Jake? It's very simple. I wash it, and that is it. I don't put anything on it. Shit programming. It is, Will Yarma. It's absolutely shit programming. I've seen the automated checkouts programmed well and fast and slick. I mean, to the point that the Poundland ones were actually quite funny because they put all the funny voice samples in them. And then you see the same machines at the Royal Mail, and they're just absolutely unusable. Just terrible. Really bad programming. Tim Hortons where? Chris Elsinger. There's a Tim Hortons in Glasgow. I go there for a cup of coffee from time to time. Oh, and the touchscreen's smeared as shit indeed. I always use my knuckle to actually touch the screens. Do you remember before Sox lights? Not really, because they've been around a long time, Dylan. It may have been tungsten before, but definitely like mercury vapor lamps with the phosphor globe on the outside of the quartz mercury capsule. They've been around for a while. What's your favourite 24 volt connector? That's very specific. It depends the current, Top Smoke. But the connectors I used for 24 volt this year and the two for the Canon lighting were the Super Seal vehicle connectors. I took a shine to those. They were pretty good actually. How is Kevin? Is he still pretending to not be gay? Yes, he is, Jason Green. I think bi might be a good description. Not really sure. He's very odd. The clock seems reasonable. The time you clearly had to set it when you moved it. Monkey Man here, it's a different panel. I remember a few mercury vapor lamps left in East Kilbride when I was very young. Katrina Bryce. So do I. At the flat, what is it even called, that area? Near Threshold Assembly Hall, there were big humps, grass mounds, and there were lamps there. Because remember one was broken, it was lighting blue, and I was looking at it and thinking, why is it lighting blue? I think it was inside a glass globe though, a glass outer thing. Tim Hortons poutine. Do they sell poutine in Glasgow? I'm not sure if they will, Jason Green. It's not a thing we have here. Chips and cheese, yes. I remember gas lamps. So do I, Bob S., because my dad used to be right into his gas lamps and had some. I repaired my brother's gas lamp recently out in the garden. East Kilbride. East Kilbride streetlights, that kind of launched my career in a way, because ultimately, blue could be mercury discharge. It was, well, the outer phosphor globe had broken, revealing the blue quartz inner core. But that's one of the things that made me want to be an electrician was Timmy's in Glasgow sells deep fried poutine, Chipmunk. Oh, okay. Not sure. I used to look at the council workers and the street working guys. Originally, it was blue nylon boiler suits and then orange nylon boiler suits and the donkey jacket. I just want to be one of those guys working in streetlights. Hmm. Any plans for new projects or just more teardowns, Paul Byerly? Not really sure what projects to do. Not a lumberjack, no, Norm Swan. I wanted to. The council workers were the ones I saw out the window as a kid, and I really just wanted like one of their overalls, that the overalls that all the council workers wore. Didn't get one. That's my holy grail. That's the one overall I never managed to get was the that particular brand and that particular style because it went. Oh, they changed the style after a while. Doesn't matter. It would never have fitted me anyway because I'm big, and that company only went up to size 50 anyway. Really. What's the resistor I need to use to make 5 volts to 3 volts, James Round? That's a complex thing because it depends on the load itself, what you do, and whether it can actually even be done with just a resistor. Scrolling down, seeing HID lamp dashcam. I started working on street lighting maintenance last week. It's an interesting enough job. Water and electricity, that's the downside of it. Water and electricity. It's tingle-tastic. The contrast to the LED sign pan in the other room looks fucking spectacular, says Jason Green. It's a fairly blackish panel. Also, it's running at very low intensity, extremely low intensity. Does the effect of a name where you can see the mercury moving around in a tube, Naomi Barn? If you see it spiraling, that's just basically, in the neon industry, it's called wiggling. That's it. I don't know if there's an actual name for it. Pudding's just chips and gravy with cheese curds. Well, that's the Drew Dastardly. We don't have cheese curds as such here, though we had curd cakes. But it's chips and cheese. The closest to squeaky curds in the UK is halloumi. Halloumi is quite odd. Squeaky cheese, it seems like eating plastic. HID lamp dash cam. Are you in the UK or in America doing the street lighting? Fanny Flambeau sequel is a must. It'd have to be something new. Why'd they change from mercury to sodium? The low pressure sodium, the yellow, is the most efficient light source because it's got a very narrow peak in the spectrum and it coincides with a fairly well with the eye's peak sensitivity. So it looked the brightest, but not very good for identifying things with colour. I did watch Styropyro's latest, Peter Stevens. I also commented on it. Richard Mannion, I keep getting given overalls by every company I work for, now starting to build a collection of my own. Indeed. I kind of like, I can remember being given the keys to the company van. I always thought that was like really, like the first time it was like, felt so big. And then getting the overalls with the company logo, I just like that. I've got all my company company logo overalls. Brad Rob Shaw, I read about a chap in America who only wore coveralls and nothing else at all for 50 years. Reasonable enough, easy maintenance, comfortable. What do you think of toroidal transformers compared to iron core ones, Arion Wellen? They're very compact, they're good, but they've got a massive inrush current, really troublesome inrush current. And on do a collab of IOM Railway with Jeff at all the stations. I'm not sure of that channel, but certainly the tram system is pretty interesting. No mercury rectifiers anymore, but they have been preserved. Lexi Devil, any tips and projects to pique interest of electronics and teaching how things work to a kid? The best thing to start off with is a simple, I'll show you one, I've got one here. If I can find it. It is a PP3, a little 9 volt battery, a resistor in line of a suitable value, and then a little socket that you can plug an LED into. This one is running at super low current because, well, it's actually designed for testing LEDs. But this is a great way, you know, using one that runs at, say, 10 milliamps. So what would that be? 9 volts minus, say, 2 volts. So 7 volts. Let me get the King calculator. So let's go for 7 volts divided by 15 milliamps, 0.015 equals a resistance value of 466, 470 ohm is the nearest standard value. Put a 470 ohm resistor in series with that little PP3 battery, the little socket that you can plug the LED into. Really lots of fun with LEDs, trying all the LEDs out. I found something to lay by. Never mind. What, Mr. Eggcake? Sodium also very good for weed, says FDog60. Not sure what that means. Everything does look orange under sodium lights, Brian Cox. Jaeger time. Jaeger time. Okay, having talked about tingle-tastic streetlights and stuff like that, to the street lighting workers that are getting harassed by that dickhead Mark, the guy, I won't even name his channel, the one who says that they're putting up death beam street lights that shoot fucking energy beams out. To the street lighting workers, the reality is not a super complex job, but lots of water and electricity and outdoor abrasion and wear and bare wires. It's a spicy job. To the street light workers. And they're sexy high-vis and bucket trucks. I did like having a van mount for a while. It was great. Particularly when you fucked up and you just turned on the yellow lights on top and everybody thought you actually meant to do that, get trapped diagonally across a road junction while trying to get access to a particular position. I wish they put up death beams, only if we can control them, Vera de Wolf. To the people who keep our infrastructure up and running, Hagen P. You think of it, a storm goes through, all the poles flattened, all the power off, and then literally within a few days, the people working all the hours under the sun, new poles in, new cables strung up, power on again, under extreme storm conditions. It's pretty amazing. The chipmunk, yes. Yellow rotating lights are a ticket to get out of things. Fred blogs, are local streetlights now LED? And today I noticed the blackbirds still sing well after sunset. It takes very little to disturb them because me being nocturnal, I can hear as spring gradually approaches, like the little flowers have all started popping up, the little spring flowers, and the bird song is starting a lot earlier. To the street lighting workers, they dug up the pavement near me to repair some cables this week. Graham Shaw, that is our downside, yeah. Having to go down into digging trenches, muddy trenches and stuff like that. Lovely. Overhead's kind of better, but in a way, more streetlight teardowns. You know, Alan Hurst, I do have a few streetlights here to tear down. And the reason I've not done them so far is because I was being targeted by the fucking 5G wankers and just decided to give it a break for a while. So they kind of won. There was just no point actually saying, this is not putting out death beams. I'll make those videos. Leisure Park anywhere? Yep, chipmunk. You just stick on your light and go and get your shopping. That is true. Current tracking death beams. Just go for the high-pitched voices. But not Dave at EV blog, obviously. Drink to Fatberg Smasher Uppers. SK, we could indeed. That's a glamorous job. Where was it? It was a. Was it on the Patreon stream? We were discussing that the ammonia refrigeration systems. There's a system to just dump it into the sewer for safety because it blends the water. That's not great if the Fatberg bursters are down working in the sewers and the fire brigade just release from a leak of ammonia refrigerant. They release it all down there. Your logo's very good. Did you draw it, Monkey Man here? It was drawn as and sent to me by someone who designed it for me randomly, and I do like it. My bulbous-headed peonies are coming through early, filling the kitchen. I noticed that all things popping up. I once went for a street lighting technician. It's crap pain. They wanted me to paint the lamp columns too. I didn't take it. Tony Weavers. The pay isn't great and the training isn't super great either, but it's actually a very relaxed job. And then you can get on with what things you enjoy in the evening. And you get to wear high vis and be manly. It's woeful in the half hour, the hour as well. It's only in the half hour, Paul Byerly. Otherwise, the house would just literally burst into flames. Yeah, it's Thursday for ammonia dumps because of fire. Yeah, that's not that great for the people working down. And it's not guaranteed they're going to be there, but one day it could be. I'm pretty sure they probably don't dump them that often. Classic gamers, the only way to fix the purple streetlights or replace them. I've not had a good close look at them, but that is the phosphor either detaching from the LEDs or a frame that holds the phosphor coming off. And the only way to really fix them is either to replace, if they're phosphor's in a separate panel, it could be replaced, but most likely they'll just replace the whole head. That's what they do here. They don't change lamps anymore. You change the whole streetlight head. So it's gone from one lamp lasting 5, 10 years to basically 1 year, and then they change the whole fitting and rewire it. It's just gone the way. LED's a disaster. It's been done so badly. Good afternoon, Paul. Paul Sit-Marie. Ah, thank you, AJ Waters. Good evening, Clive. Got several sets of Christmas lights, but the first half comes on even when they all connect together or plugged in separately. Um, that does sound just a bad connection. Keep in mind that Christmas lights are different between countries. It most likely will have a parallel circuit going along to the other one. You may have to explore and look for open circuits. One of those voltage sensing pens is pretty good at finding them. It can be helpful. Better the Chinese collecting cooking oil out the sewers and reusing it. That's not so great because it's not all food-based oil, is it? Ugh. What colour flashing LEDs are in the white supercomputer, Mark Kruzmer? They are warm white LEDs. How do they come across? They come across fairly well, quite bright in the picture, but that's of warmish colour. Not super golden, but warm white. Bring back fluorescent lighting lasted a decade. It did Voltar 2M stereo. The amount of e-waste pseudo-memes generated by the whole metal heat sinks is ridiculous. They're so unserviceable. And people saying, does anybody know what to do? I'm trying to change a lamp and I can't change it. It's flashing on and off, but I can't work how to open it to put a new lamp in. You can't. You're going to have to turn the power off and disconnect the whole fixture and put a new one in. Oh, I'll have to get an electrician then. It's like, oh, God, such a step backwards. And they do grill the LEDs, Rebs dioramas. In the past, the light bulb conspiracy was kind of like semi-accurate. Now it's absolutely 100% designed to fail. No conspiracy there. They design them to fail. Rabbi Boy, fuck Christmas lights the next 10 months. Ah, Rabbi Boy has just finished taking Christmas lights down, presumably. Yes. Busy time of the year for the street lighting department. I think I might know who Rabbi Boy is now. Not sure. I did notice that, I mean, technically speaking, they could standardize a LED heatsink and module, and you could actually change the modules in lights, but nobody's stepping forward and saying we should standardize these. I guess that's because we don't really have a government. Now, I noticed that Lightways, who now do the George Square Christmas lights, they did the wise thing. They took them down at night time when nobody was about, no public members about, but most importantly, no safety Nazis about, and also the webcam can't really pick up what they're doing. So win-win. People can't take pictures. That's the best time to do it. Norm Swan, Arg now I smell old lady. Thanks, Clive. Are you right at the beginning of the stream with these chemical aromas? Oh, you'll find out when you get here. I chose non-fixed LED lights for my new bathroom. I want to change the freaking bulbs. Indeed. You have to choose. You have to specifically hunt for ones that you can change the lamp in them. Oh, 6G soon. They were already working on it. Oh, I've got something to show you. The best thing about this product was the feedback comments. It's a light fitting, and it's basically got a hub that goes onto a plate in the ceiling. Hold on, where's the plate? There's the plate. So here's the plate on the ceiling, no earth connection, and then this goes into it, right, on the ceiling. It didn't look like this in the picture. And then you get loads of stems going around the outside here. So here's the stems with just the wires. So basically speaking, you buy this and you have to build it. And in the picture, it showed some waggle, vaggle, wiggle type connectors for joining them together. And the comments were, I received this today and it's just wires everywhere. What am I supposed to do with this? It's got wires. I don't know what to do with the fucking wires. It's just brilliant. So many people have bought it and they basically arrived a build your own lamp kit. It's great. It's going to be quite fun to build. Maybe I should build it in a live stream, although it's kind of big. Oh, it's got 8 of those stems. It's worth getting just for the bits. Oh, and one of the best bits, right? You know you have to maintain the polarity of the sockets. Now, I've not tested them all. It's American colours, so black is live, white is neutral. And the black does go to the middle pin on this one. Will it be the same with the others? But more importantly, let me just grab a little bit of wire here. Where is it? Where's that little bit of wire? There it is. So you've connected them all together with, oh, it does give you things to connect them. You've got 9 wires going together because there's 8 of those things, and it gives you a screw it, or whatever you call it, the wire nut or mourette, which isn't a standard thing here. But then you've got this wire here, which comes up from the live neutral, so it's the same color, it's yellow wires. So it's like, which is live and neutral now? So you don't just have to build it, but to make it compliant, you have to do electrical tests on it while you're building it. Excellent. I wonder how many were bought and then put into charity shops. How do I find this Google? What? It was 20 quid. Not bad, given that it's got 8 heads in it. It is a fantastic project. To someone technical, it would be great, because then you could hack it to bits. It is aluminium wire, by the way. I did try to twist it, and it just went back again. It's not copper. Coppery coloured. It does look like speaker cable, yes. 8 heads sounds like a good week, says DCL. Yes. But if I do build it, it's got to get all the different crystal caps put into it. Custom lamps. Test Hugo, very 18th edition, the NIC EIC would be proud. I think you'd need to be NIC EIC approved just to actually build that light electron box. So obviously like mumble. Thank you, Blair Vesey, much appreciated. Meanwhile, survey, it's -25 to -42 C with wind chill. That's in maritime Canada. Anyone watching from anywhere colder? Oh, I think people should just type the temperature of where they are at the moment. That's the best thing to do there. And we'll choose the coldest ones. -25, I guess that's the -42's wind chill. That's pretty cold. That is extremely cold. Charlie Mackay says -27 is that actual temperature. That's pretty low. No, 632 degrees Celsius. That means you're in hell, fanatical, where you'll be burning forevermore. 'Cause that's what happens to people who don't obey the Superlord. Brown to brown, blue to bits, indeed. The copper-clad stuff is a disaster, the copper-clad wire. It's an absolute disaster for safety and fires. It's just like, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't be allowed in the country. It's happening. 6 degrees Celsius, Douglas IOM here, says Human Seagull. Greetings, Human Seagull. I saw June today. Yeah, I'm aware you do have the low pressure sodium. Have to meet up with you some point. What I really want, still Human Seagull, is one of those circuit boards that blew up in the Douglas street lighting when it was struck by lightning. I really want to see what went wrong. Tin-plated steel is worst. You can kind of detect that with a magnet, Red Fathom, but this copper coating allows solder sometimes. Some of it has been really absolutely crap. The copper coating just basically disappears as soon as you apply solder. We'd like to see a SOX light test in video. It wouldn't be that exciting, GRSCO1. I think you want to see a UVC lamp tested because it's a nicer colour and it's more dangerous. Why go Chucky Block or why not? So I would use, hold on, I've got some, yeah, one moment. I don't know, showing these. A bag of pink Wago connectors, pink clone Wago connectors. Do you know why I get the pink ones? It's not just because the pink is the colour of the channel. It's because I'll know that these are cheap, shitty Chinese ones and not trust them for mains wiring, because the other ones could get mixed up. The way they make the copper-clad cable is quite interesting. I don't know how they do it, Dave Reader, if it's electroplating. This other thing I got, these are clones. But nice colouring, the black case and the brown, green and blue for the flex colours. That's quite nice. I've taken one apart. Spoilers, I think it is a copper bus bar in it, which is pretty good. Are Wago expensive? Not really. If you're doing your house with electrical stuff, don't get the clone ones. I'd recommend Wago, Vago. They're the best option. They're the proper one. Unfortunate that they don't do any like this, which is a great connector. It's a useful connector. But that's what I'd use in that light. If I was joining them, I would use the click down connectors, and I'd just make sure the wires, there were no loose strands, because that's another thing in the hands of a hobbyist. All it takes is one rogue strand of wire poking out and your whole light fitting's going to come live. What is it with the Chinese not earthing things? Watch the Wago fire safety video. They safely melt and remain connected. They do, because it's just a metal assembly, so the plastic can melt off the outside. SOX teardown? No, Dylan, because they do actually contain sodium, liquid sodium. Has anyone used Wago gel box? They're interesting, spooks wood, and they're reusable theoretically. Quite interesting. I've got various Vago things here that I should really cover in videos, including their pod system. The screw together pod. It's really nicely designed. But it's designed for Wago connectors, but it's Wago box or Connects box, I think they're called now, because they weren't associated with Wago. And all their stuff was designed by an actual electrician and is therefore logical and sensible, which is nice. The Careless Whisker, indeed, George Michael. What's the first computer you used? Well, technically speaking, Anon, I don't know what it was because I wrote the program and punched cards. But the first one I programmed on at a keyboard was a Krememco Z2D and then the ZX80. ZX81, should I say. I do trust Wagos. Someone's saying they prefer Chalk Block. I think Chalk Block is out of date and Wago is a better option. Wago actually stole the China's idea of connecting three-pole Wagos. They did, but then, hey, it was a rip-off of their product. They should just rip it right back off, Case Modder. Mickey Moo 2, the week has been okay. You can't earth it if there is no metal in the frame. You can't. That whole fitting is metal. Just an LED fixture come pre-terminated Wago, David Hoers. Was that a little strip light by any chance? Like, hold on. These VTAC fittings, which I quite like for just bench lighting, these originally came with cheapy Chinese connectors and excruciatingly short wires out the back. I mean, seriously, what are you supposed to do with that length of wire sticking out the back of a fixture? Hold on. Thank you, I'm the Beelzebub, for being a raddest dude in the internet. Oh, thank you. I actually prefer chalky block. Find it better to can mount it with the screw holes. Oh, not so sure about that. But these lights come with this. What? Suppose you mount it under, say, a kitchen cabinet. What are you supposed to do? Put a junction box in the cabinet? Thank you, Ian Gillespie. Beer for you, big man. Do you think the West will be forced to repatriate chip and motherboard manufacture? Is the Shenzhen loving dying? I don't think they could. I don't think they could compete. It feels weird at the moment because the China is just basically designed to manufacture. It's just slavery, really. Thank goodness we're not them. So where are the connectors in here? So this one, yeah, it comes with a 2-pole Wago-ish type connector for connecting it. That's the newer version then. Wire nuts are as good as the operator. That is the thing. A connector is only as good as the person that's actually using it. There are people who just don't understand things like that. Oh, this thing is not going back in the box. This is not going back in the box. It's gone, yeah. I'll work that out there. It's gone vertical. The thing is, you have hundreds of wires, bits of blocks screwed up as much using the hundreds of Wagos hang loose. Yeah, oh, are you aware that you can get the Wago DIN rail and other terminals that are actually designed to screw to surfaces and you can actually then click them through them? They do have options for that. Shooter memes, I also like the flat Wagos more than the grey ones. I didn't really trust them at first, but now I've taken one apart. A clone. It's alright, actually. At Medic Insider, some information about the toilet death in London, the hydraulic one. They want to know how's best to share the info with you. Family friend. Oh, bigclive1@gmail.com. That would be interesting to know. That would be interesting to know what happened there. I have been following that to see if I can find any more information, but no, it's just like man crushed by toilet. That was it. Big Clive, some of them are electricians, some of them are Graham Shaw. Remember to use your impact driver to tighten up terminals in the consumer unit. Not. I use Wagos for alarm cable better than chalk block. Not so sure about alarm cable because the Wagos, they grip it with a wee springy metal blade, and I just get the feeling that could actually damage thinner cables. Don't know. I noticed that you had a pink screw and light bulb. I did, Richard Brian Smith. In fact, the video has been made. I just threw it on the floor earlier on. It is a pink light bulb. Slightly disappointing pink light bulb, but it is a pink light bulb. China manufacture getting too expensive. They're building factories in Africa. I did consider TGFC. I did consider if it was going to move to India, the manufacturing, but to be honest, India's already been wrecked in the same way that Australia has by British bureaucracy moving in right at the beginning, and they can't establish efficient business because everything is full of useless pen pusher red tape. What is Wago? Vega. Wago, Wago, Vigo. It's a German connector system that uses springs to hold the wires in place instead of screws. Very good. Toilet crush an engineer. It happened at 1 p.m. Indeed, nuts and proud. Horrible. I wonder what happened. As Clark's found out, alley transfer windings will not sold to copper but have to be crimped. Absolutely. That, Roger Conliffe, that was Mr. Carson's lab. Another Canadian channel. What the fuck is it with Canada? So many good technical channels. Canada is a super technical country for some reason. It just dominates the internet. YouTube has lots of Canadian technical channels. Greetings, Crispin Wilton. Does the pink light bulb use pink LEDs? Oh, spoiler zap, Sparky. No, cold white. I've made the video. It's a bit disappointing. Not to worry. The magenta LEDs would have been great. I saw a video earlier on an electronic showcase. Knipex representative said how to pronounce it properly for Nautical. They should just let people pronounce it as it is in their country. Knipex, like knife. But Knipex if they wish. Salty 3 pancakes. What? Let's go indeed. Mr. Carson was a wee bit exasperated, as was I, breathed Scotland, when I saw that. Especially the fact they just wrapped the wires around blob them with soda is just awful. What a horrible thing to do. Expensive unit wrecked by that one solder connection onto inappropriate windings. Just terrible. Why did they do that? Are there Wago Schuko plugs? Don't know, but there are spring-loaded C-form connectors that just click, and you put the wire in and click the latch, and it goes and snaps down, and that's it, locked. Pretty good, actually. Canada's fuck all else to do. For Nautical, you might be right. Rural, out in the cold, but then no, I think it just attracts a lot of technical people for some reason. Maybe it's just because there are less summer distractions. Don't know. Or because it's an industrial country. Don't know. Scrolling down. Nothing to do in the winter in Canada. Indeed, China North Air Guns. Into your workshop. That's its best thing you could do anyway. Pile of stuff. Indeed. Did you fall in a bucket of steel paint? Roberto. What? We make cars and farm, indeed, and maintain factories. Wago relies on a spring to maintain a tight connection. It does indeed. I would try and show you that right now by showing the inside of one, but it's not going to focus too well on this camera because it is fixed focus. I can show you in a video. I love to work on stuff in the Winter Weasel box. Who doesn't? In your workshop. In fact, that ties in with, what is the name of that channel? Brainiac. Is it Brainiac? Where he was talking about the halogen lights above the bench. That actually, if you have the tungsten halogen lights, they've got glass in front to block the UVC from the quartz tube. In reality, it's not a huge amount. I used to work under halogen light, and I know that's not what caused this. That was caused by a hard hat and excessively hot weather and a reaction to sweaty headband. It was horrible, unpleasant. But I've worked under halogen lighting in the winter in Glasgow and really enjoyed the heat that came off it. But because the fitting I used, it didn't have a glass front. And it was just basically a bare tube, which was a bit naughty, really. Super hot. It's almost woofle time. The big LED star came from, or this one, or that one. Both came from Mouse. I just saw news an 18-year-old Canadian student who won 48 million lotto jackpot, and it was the first ticket she ever purchased. Hard not to be envious of her. Yes, Boobla, that is ridiculous, but that's a nice thing to happen. As a member of an industry that gets crazy busy 9 months a year, I happen to enjoy having less to do in winter. Blair Scooten. Sounds like the entertainment industry to a degree. It is bursts of activity. Woofle time. It is Liz o'clock. Woofling. That's very, very limp woofles at the moment. Woofle. I may need to switch to using different wooflation liquid. I'll try and make them slower. Or change the composition of the woofle liquid. Woofle. Still good fireballs though. Ah, 100mm woofle, no Fanautical. It's too destructive. Top Smoke BMW put a giant diode line with the battery because so many people fried their ECUs by reverse polarity. Should have memes. Did they actually put it in series with their stuff? I noticed many of the things like truck controllers had a diode in parallel, in reverse parallel, so it shorted out, but it did kill the controller, but just the diode need cut out and replaced. It's a common enough approach. Does the nozzle get soft? The plastic Monkey Man here doesn't really get soft. What's the formula of secret wooflation fluid? Dishwashing liquid and water, Gary B. I'm going to grab a beer. What's your favourite brand of screwdriver? Says Kate. Any that works. But I use, at work I've been using Wera. Let me show you them. I use a kit like this at work. This is my bench one, which has it's VDE, the German stand for electrical safety, and it just basically lets you take your suitable screwdriver bit and you clip it in like this, and it snaps in. It just saves a lot of space in the toolkit. Quite expensive, but if you're working with it professionally, it does two things. It's going to last a long time, and also when people see you using it, the wee safety bastards see you using the red and yellow handle, they go, well, he has complied with my checkbox. Tick. I'll put this through. Oh, Wera. And then just to add professionalism to it, just to add professionalism, they include a neon test screwdriver, which basically says, not that professional, actually. It's very odd. This kit has all the odd bits as well. It's got the bits that are designed for terminals, which is the hybrid. It's got the flat blade as well, combined into the crosshead, the sort of terminal drivers. And is this one also got the... Yeah, it has. It's got the pillar keys for electrical pillars and stuff like that as well. Kind of expensive kit, but useful. It's a neon one. Ain't big, ain't clever. No fancy LED and battery in this one. We have charged them a lot of money. We should give them a cheap $1 neon screwdriver to make it sound good. I'm going to go for beer. 1 moment, please. Today I will be drinking Stella Artois. I bought a 1 litre bottle of vodka today, not because I wanted to drink lots of vodka, but because I want the bottle for a 3D printed base for a glitter lamp. But Wera, some of their tools are very expensive. Their Joker crescent wrenches, spanners are just ridiculously expensive. To the point of, like, you look at it and think, really? Got to get the Crystal Skull bottles there, awesome red fan. And it's filtered. The vodka in them is filtered through diamonds. Wow. There's no point in filtering it through diamonds because, like, distilled spirit is extremely pure. But the diamonds they're talking about are, is it Herkimer diamonds? Which are quartz, just quartz. It's just a gimmick. How much is your 1 litre of vodka? About 20 quid, Voltar 2M stereo. Let me go and grab my vodka. It was about £20 Co-op Imperial Vodka. Does it tell you how many units it contains? Ingredients: demineralized water and grain alcohol. Do not drink and drive, play sport, or operate machinery. Know your limits. This contains 37.5 units of alcohol. And a 25 milliliter thing contains 0.9. The 35 millimeter would have been one unit, which is 10 milliliters of ethanol. Oh, per 25 milliliter measure, 52 calories. Good for diets. If vodka's costing £20 a litre, it's grossly overpriced even with UK duty on it. Well, it's Isle of Man for a start, Dennis, but typically speaking, it's £12 to £14 for a 750 milliliter bottle here. Or just make your own. Where's it made? My Tesco vodka is made in Warrington. I don't know if it says where it's made. Made in the UK for the Co-op Group. Just says made in the UK. Probably Diageo, because they make lots of stuff. That's one of the biggest liquor makers in the UK, in the world probably. ICI, it could be ICI making pure ethanol. £20 for a litre is bonkers. 16 even in Scotland with their min pricing legislation. Isle of Man is a closed shop, GS 1512, it's pretty bad. Is everything more expensive, Isle of Man? Pooch Maxi. I was looking in Asda and other shops in Glasgow, and I was looking, thinking, like, say for instance, Aldi as well, and Lidl. I was looking at a packet of snacks, a common pack of snacks sold by various shops, sell the same style of snacks, lots of different shapes, and it's sort of puffed up wheat snack thing. And it was 89 pence in Aldi, and it was like £2.50 in the local ShopRite for the same bag. Makes own ethanol, knock knock, want our duty money, indeed. Dennis, it is a fairly common hobby, but in the UK and America probably. I think they're mainly interested in people who are making it and selling it. Is it only tourists that use Isle of Man trams? No, Naismith, because once you get to retirement age, you get to ride the trams for free. Are you going 2 or 2.5 hours this stream? Not really sure. We'll make it up as we go along. Filtering cheap shitty vodka makes a huge improvement. Yes, if you put it through the charcoal, the carbon filter, but the Herkimer diamonds, putting it through diamonds is utterly pointless. It's just a gimmick. Our vodka is filtered through diamonds. Well, they could filter a bazillion freaking gallons through the same diamonds. They're not even real diamonds. It's like hotel rooms. You go into a hotel room and you get the choice between a basic room or the luxury room. The luxury room is a little bit of extra trim. It's got a bigger TV. And how many people are paying that huge premium for the same features all the time? It just shows how much money a bit of trim can generate. The local Co-op is selling Art is Anal vodka at £20 per litre. Okay, well that's what I paid, £20 a litre. Artisanal, oh right, okay. Oh, the artisanal vodka. Artisanal just means pretentious. 4 hours please, I'm lonely, Mr. Mocky. Can't guarantee 4 hours. The Unos were manufactured by Urilift. I think they were Dutch. Ah. But really, the best way to make pure vodka is to just make it well in the first place with proper distilling. You used to get 1 litre Smirnoff as Amazon £16, £17. Oh, okay. Arthur Tushesh Jackson, Clive, I feel tired. Then sleep then. Maybe it was early form diamonds, i.e. charcoal. Tyeth Gundry. Could have been, but they do say diamonds, and then that they reveal Herkimer diamonds, which are just quartz. Sold on eBay, Herkimer diamond energy crystal point for maximum 5G repulsion. Just arrived, sat in the bath, nice and hot. Well, that's nice, Nigel Lewis. Enjoy your bath. What's the tool you regret not buying sooner? Bizarrely, the tool that I really needed but couldn't afford at the time is right down here. It was to get one new would have just been unaffordable. Randomly, and I didn't need it anymore as such, but I went on eBay and I saw one. I just randomly typed it in eBay and found one. Let me show you it. It's quite big. Who's it made by? Manufacturing, it's Cliff. The same people that make the quick test. This one takes bandoliered resistors. You set this, or components, you set it to the spacing, and then basically you turn the handle, and it doesn't just crop your resistors, but it folds the leads and then cuts them to the correct length and then spits them into this little bowl here. Very good. Oh, how I could have done with that in the past. I have used it. All the resistors for this were put through that. It saved a lot of time. If my company is paying, I'm getting the better room. Yes. Richard Brian Smith, before I go, Big Clive, just want to say I enjoy watching your videos. Well, thank you. And good night to you. Do they have to be in tape? They do, Norm Swan. They have to be bandoliered, but I do get a lot of my components in bandoliered form. I'm looking for them now, but I took a load through to the other room. I've got a lot of the resistors. I've got maybe about 40, 50 values in like the 1000 bandolier. If it is just 1000, it might be more. You've got a blown LED. Have I? Where? In the supercomputer. Oh, it's hard to tell. Oh, I see one that's out, yeah. Dead LED. Oh, that's all right. You can actually test that by unplugging it. Yeah, that's annoying. Not to worry. Maybe take a look at that later on and change it. Favorite resistor rating? Quarter watt Groove Jet is my standard resistor. Medic Insider. I see Medic Insider here. I'm sure we'll see it. I'll let you know if he does not respond in a couple of days. Okay. I haven't seen. Hold on. But my email address is bigclive1@gmail.com. If you want to send information, that would be useful to know. But I shall find, if you've sent an email, I'll find that. Disturbing thing. A horrible way to die in that urinal thing. Just, even in a factory it'd be bad, but there's the circumstances of just being down a cramped manhole and getting crushed like that. It's horrible. I have a horrible feeling that they'll just... I shall look at that, thank you, Medic Insider. I have a horrible feeling that they're going to blame the dead person. They usually do. That's what happens. Did they die? Yes. Well, it was their fault then. The engineers should have used supports if there were supports. You don't really know the full circumstances of what happened there. Also, it's bad enough those pits are prone to flooding, which makes things a bit hard. And also, it's a urinal and lots of piss is going to miss, and it's going to be full of piss as well as all the slurry that comes off the street. It's not just water. If you lift a... Oh, this is the image is frozen for me here. I don't know if this is a... A man died. He did indeed. Chat disconnected. Am I still going out here? Yes, it's connected again. Nope, they won't be able to blame him. Will they not? Oh, right, okay. But it'll be interesting to see. But yes, the electrical pop-up pillars are notorious for flooding and also being very cramped, and you're kneeling in water really ultimately and to work and stuff. It's just like none of this stuff gets designed sensibly. I wouldn't have used the pop-up urinals. I'd have had public toilets or what they had next to the big plastic ones designed to cater the large number of people and the lack of public facilities which they should have had in the first place. I'm not keen on these automated toilets. We had manhole covers all over George Square, and they were supposed to be drained. The whole lot was just full of and when the brief moments they were dry, the rats just ran wild in them, chewing our cables. It was just disgusting. Everything that gets unleashed in George Square would find its way into this rotting, deep, stagnant water. That's lovely. Out of interest, do you wear 1 kV rated work boots? No, I don't, Craig Matthews. Most of the work I do these days is somewhat safer. I wouldn't like to have to get proper dielectric boots because I've got huge feet, and it's usually hard to get size 15 in anything. Although having said that, are my boots, current boots, dielectrically rated? They're all plastic. They're composite caps. I would rate them as being pretty safe electrically. But yes, I'm being cautious to say too much. I've not read the email yet, so I don't know if it's going to be confidential as such. I'm not going to discuss it too much in public until I've read that. My work boots are anti-static, indeed, Minky Muta. Anti-static, but they should also be dielectric. Is it true what they say about guys with huge feet? Yes, unfortunately it is big socks too, yes. The odd thing is, the dielectric boots that the overhead line workers wear, the information says only dielectric until they get wet. So they're boots, but as soon as they get wet, they're not rated anymore. I think of lots of weird things people have, yes, passed away in just hideous circumstances that were absolutely not their fault. Graham Shaw, very stupid design. See newly qualified, thick as mints, well-paid design students. So many shit designs come out of colleges and universities where the design students are all hyped up that they're experts and they come out with designs based on something they've never ever experienced in real life. But the same applies. This is turning into a big rant, isn't it? The good thing about I wear composite toe cap footwear all the time now, just because it's comfortable. It's the trainers. It's quite handy. You can go through the airport without taking them off. They don't set the detector off. I didn't get stopped and searched this time on the way out. That makes a refreshing change. Nice. They have to start somewhere, Verdi Wolf. They do, but if they actually went out and got some experience, it's like if you go onto the IET technical forums, the Institute of Electrical Technology, or whatever they call it now. It used to be the Institute of Electrical Engineers, and it's full of university graduates all giving electrical advice, and it's very clear that very few of them have ever actually worked on the tools. Very delusional. You wear Crocs. At the moment, I am wearing Crocs. Super high dielectric strength Crocs. Sent to me by Evolution, no less. The plastic toe caps, the composite ones, they are a lot lighter than the steel ones, particularly for my foot size. Ain't big, ain't clever. There are pictures of that fellow whose legs have been overcooked in a barbecue. One of the worst things about you see a lot of American line workers. I say specifically American because they do a lot of the work live, and they're encouraged to work live as if it's some heroic thing. Here in the Isle of Man, if Kevin's going to be working on overhead lines, they'll either section it out. It's designed on a network that they can actually bypass sections and just find other routes round, or if they have to put the power off to a neighbourhood, they'll simply drop a wee flyer in through the letterboxes saying, your power's going to go off round about this time. Sorry for the inconvenience, it's just for maintenance. And most of it is worked dead. I mean, they'll work on up to 415 volts live, but the higher voltage, they won't work it live. But a lot of American linemen have their arms physically blown off. Like, they make contact and they get badly burnt, and although they might look as though they're doing okay in hospital, the inside of their arm is physically burnt, and they have to get them amputated. So you end up with literally ex-linemen with no arms, like literally stumps at the shoulders. Not convenient. And then, of course, because of the American healthcare system, they're just thrown into the gutter. You've worked hard. Here's your reward. IT is bullshit. It is chocolate jelly bean. It's lost credibility a lot. Not great for a wank. Not great for even taking your pants down. Hence ring main. Indeed, chipmunk. The original definition of ring main was the ring distribution system. Do you know the national grid was invented by a Scotsman, a Scottish industrialist, as they called them, factory owner. And he actually designed a fairly sensible system. What was his name again? Not sure. We had a fresh degree qualified engineer start at work, get your spin. He couldn't fix a damn thing. Box was full of shite, got fired quite quickly. Boy was full of shite. Absolutely, yeah. You can't just come out of college or university and just go straight into working on panels. You tend to get just blinded by science and randomly start stabbing at random bits. It takes the seasoned workers to actually know the correct bits to look at. Power supply, safety circuits. Common sense. Really. Terrible. But not to worry, it happens. Oh, Jerry BVR. Saw interview with Icelandic Sparks who lost both arms and got new ones transplanted. God, does that work? Dunno. Although having said that, stem cells, I didn't realise that they were widespread in use now. I heard about it in the early days when they were talking how this could help people grow new bits or repair things, and I didn't realise that it progressed to the point it is now standard medical treatment. William Weir, that was it. Lord Weir, that's the one. Who's that Victorian guy who had big estate and used water tower burns to electric? I'm not sure. Clive said for 10 years couldn't even wipe his arse. That would be unpleasant, Jerry BVR. Worse if you lived on your own, then you have to have someone there to wipe things for you. Ugh. But yes, No, you can't regrow arms with stem cells. I know that will the cat, but you could. It might help with the actual bridging of the, when the new transplants get put on. Not really sure. Don't know. There's stem cell therapy instead of heart transplant now. Do they actually regenerate the heart? I'm the Beelzebub. Don't know. Hmm. You say don't funger fick the cat. Just get a sponge stick mounted to the wall. Someone has to mount it to the wall and clean it. Imagine that after a year. Now the chat, it's got to that point in the stream that the chat has gone a bit weird. That happens. The status Cragside, was that the one with all the big fountains? Or something else? Not really sure. We have the genes to regrow limbs, but they're turned off for now. Electron box. Yeah, because there are animals that can regrow limbs. That it would be interesting if they did find ways to turn them on, but the worry is you'd turn other things on as well. It's all a very delicate balance. Weird is fine. Weird but scientific. It is weird but scientific. Can I see your socks? No. How do the classes for HV gloves work? I don't actually know. I'd guess it's the voltage rating of them. That it will go from the basic gauntlets you get in factories to the really stiff rubber ones that you put the leather glove over the outside of it. Yeah. Flatworms are the king of regeneration, are they, Jeffrey Waldo? Dunno. Have you tried ChatGPT? I have, Aaron, and I wasn't impressed. I asked it some technical questions, and it came back with internet gathered misinformation, is what it came back with. It's young, but if it presented it authoritatively, and if someone believed that and then they put up their article on the internet with that misinformation and then ChatGPT found it and regurgitated it again, it could basically create a loop of misinformation. I also tried DALL-E. It was quite interesting. Very good at making stained glass cats. Not so great at handsome bearded men in overalls. The result was very odd. Oh, it just blipped. ChatGPT just created some Z80 assembler for me. Interesting. Chip guy. Was it accurate? Was it good? I think it's young, the AI. It needs to evolve. But, it's interesting. It's an interesting direction. Is in a way. Why, thank you, A133M210. I am a handsome bearded man, thank you. In a way, the ChatGPT, it strikes me as being the lazy person's Google search. Instead of going and looking and extrapolating the information themselves, they can just search in a flippant way. I'm not sure this is a good thing. It makes mistakes programming too. It does, will the cat, including commands that don't even exist in the platform it's programming on. I've heard about this. I asked ChatGPT to write an OpenSCAD. It did very well. Really? That just describing shapes, Simon Allen, that would be interesting. Midjourney looks stunning. Nisai. Really. That's going to upset the artists. It is going to upset the artists. The results are outstanding. They in my car is crazy dangerous. I wouldn't want that, Duncan Holloway. I don't even like the idea of the drive-by wire. I want my steering wheel to be connected directly to the the wheels. I don't want electronics, too much electronics in between. ChatGPT already started a £20 subscription in the US. I think you get a certain number before you have to do it. Oh, right, tell you what then. Here we go. To AI, particularly Midjourney, I have to say, and the people who are working on those projects, because it is very interesting, to the AI engineers. How much of it is AI? How much of it really is artificial intelligence? And how much of it is just basically good programming, deep programming to actually work out all the different combinations of things? Not really sure. AI will be the next big thing, Chip Guy. You missed the VR when it came out in the Lawnmower Man film, and it was all hyped up. Or what about when War Games came out and it was all about hacking and the media got on it? AI is the latest thing. It's young. It's just getting established. It's being hyped up far beyond what it used to be. But having said that, the Midjourney is stunning. The images it produces are extraordinary. J-Screen, I can't really give you a quick overview of ChatGPT, but I can tell you what I got the impression that it was basically doing an ultra-fast search on your behalf on Google or other platforms on the internet, and then basically creating you an answer based on that. Maybe I didn't test it fairly by asking controversially things. Maybe I was a bastard. Yeah. AI's worst enemy. It's going to send a drone after me now, isn't it? I did say, what is the liquid in a glitter lamp? And it said it's glycol. No, it's not. And I said, why do they use calcium nitrate, which I'm pretty sure is in a glitter lamps? And it came back and said, it is not calcium nitrate, it's glycol. And it was like, no, tried that. Didn't work. Calcium nitrate works. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe AI knows more than I do. Maybe not. Which drawer behind you is the flux capacitor in? It's too big to go in one of the drawers. But anyway, if MD finds a Terminator robot, I would like to take it to bits. Is it held together by normal screws? Dennis, honestly, it came across as a current. I've not asked it about ozone yet. It does sound like a layer on top of Google. I think it is Tom Houston. ChatGPT is based on data from 2021. Okay, Medic Insider. That I suppose it makes sense to take a snapshot for the learning. But we'll see what happens. It just does make me think that it could lead to the idiocracy culture where people become over-dependent on something that is not actually answering accurately. But we'll see what happens. It's fine. It's very woke evolution. But I shall follow it with great interest because it does have potential. I liked the bit when someone asked it to do research, it came back with loads of references to where it got the information from. They were all kind of fake. Sounds like Karen science. But that's good. Google is getting too full of adverts. It is, as people are saying, it's getting harder and harder to find the information you need on Google. Particularly technical information. Pool Paul, how loud are 3D printers? Not that loud at all. I don't know why people complain so much. Really, seriously, if they're on a proper surface, you get a slight roboty type noise, but they're not loud. ChatGPT in general ozone is toxic if it is inhaled in high concentration over a short period of time and lower concentrations over a longer period of time. See, that's not. Does it mention how much is in the air? Probably not. It does seem like the dumber you are, the more you reproduce, David Skywalker. There are people designed to breed and there are people designed to do technical stuff. Unfortunately, all the useless people ended up in the government for some reason. Hmm. Ah, let me see. People complain about 3D printers have had them in their bedrooms, possibly Megavoltmeister, working overnight. I don't do big prints like that. Everything I design is optimized to print in 10 minutes, an hour. It's not. I think one of the biggest things recently was you'll see the project coming up in the channel. It's the glitter lamp base that takes a GU10 lamp holder. That took about 2 or 3 hours to build. Have I built a crystal set? I've built a Germanium diode set, Andrew Gardner, which is the same sort of thing. I've got 8 kids. Does that mean I'm thick? No, it doesn't, Mike lad. It means you've been busy. But there are some people that just breed. That's their only skill. But there are technical people who do actually manage to have families, which is nice. But the interesting thing is that many of those kids from the people who mainly just breed will actually be technical. It's bizarre. I made printers that run days in a print, no real problems. Yes, Michel van der Meulen. Yeah, I just optimize my prints to be minimalist. Lots of air. Fast print. Maybe the guy with 8 kids has big socks. Possibly, Paul Burley. Women who have kids become really boring and sound like the first person to ever give birth. Evolution. Really, that's a strong opinion. At the local gym, the owner, before it changed hands, she had kids and then suddenly became a life expert coach in having kids and was offering coaching for people who were thinking of having kids. Interesting twist. Yeah, CDEC might get visited by the spaghetti monster on an overnight print when it just messes up the print and just spews out the plastic and just wavers about in thin air, spewing plastic out. It happens. Alex Barton, I use your live streams to send me to sleep. A lot of people use my videos to send them to sleep just because it's an ambient voice chatting in the background and it does make them conk out. This is fine. I'm fine with that. I'm trying to find things I can talk about here. Any gadgets? I don't know if I showed this the last time. I've got a USB charger, little, is it through here? Recent purchase from eBay. It's a little USB power bank and you slide it out and it's got a USB-C connector. Unfortunately, it's the wrong polarity and it can blow up electronic stuff. That's not great. But anyway, I think a lot of people use the technical channels to help them sleep just because it's technical chat and it's just basically all engulfing. It stimulates the brain. Where's the cheap rum? The cheap rum, there's rum, but there's also the cheap vodka. Here's the cheap vodka. for the bottle. How'd you find it is wrong with polarity? I plugged it into a USB tester and it didn't make it light. And it turns out that tester has polarity protection, which is good. And then out of suspicion, I plugged it into something that is not critical. It's basically just a resistor and an LED. And when I plugged it in, the LED did not light. But this showed that it was getting powering a load, and it was like, that's not great. No offense meant. Wake up in the morning and you're still talking, Alex Barton. Have you got it in loop or are you just watching all my videos? Can I recommend a decent entry-level 3D printer? I'm not sure, Pool Paul. I'm not sure what the best option is these days. I use an FL Sun Q5, but they move on over time. Did you stop in the Hard Rock near Glasgow? I did not, Megavoltmeister. I just didn't have time. I went to Delmonico's for a beer, but I didn't even spend much time there. I just didn't get into as many places as I would. It was only a week. I need to get back again soon. All of them on loop. Oh, right, okay, Alex Barton. That's reasonable enough. Are you learning stuff overnight? That's the interesting aspect. Ender 3 or CR10 is about the standard starter printer. Interest to know. I keep getting approached by companies offering me printers, but I decline because I don't want to do reviews because they're a pain in the ass doing reviews and then trying to comply with their expectations. Can you soda stream something live, Clive? No, for not found. I'm not going to do that right now. But that's reasonable enough. Maybe in the future. I've got a couple of videos come out with carbonation. They've been recorded recently. Tequila and beer, one of them worked, one of them didn't. Star Delta, so evolution, you ban the procreation of kids? Yes. To control population, yes. No. Just a lot of us are loners. And the ones that are loners don't tend to be too keen on the idea of kids in the first place. Noisy little things. Don't know. 3D plots the way of the future. Any interest in tat with the pound shops? You know, the best pound shop tat was from One Below or One Beyond. I don't know what it's called these days. It used to be Pound World. Pound Land did not have a lot of good stuff. Palmet, why am I not special to you? You don't love me no more. It depends where you're. If it's because I'm not responding to messages. It's because there's quite a lot of messages going up. Would you do Skillshare? No, I wouldn't, Clodfish. Skillshare is technical channels being viewed directly without going through a third party. Ever used a resin 3D printer? No, Pugster Josh. I don't like the idea of all the sticky resin. Does Welder's CO2 do a funny taste out the same pseudomemes for making carbonated drinks? So you better be using to make sure it's not a contaminated tank or other stuff. It'd be better using food grade CO2. But it'd probably work. Pound shops going under? I don't really know. How about Pound Town? We don't have one called Pound Town Big Toe, but it would be good if there was. But Poundland sells dildos and lube and all manner of penile vibratory devices as well. Thank you, Web Debbie, for woofle gas supply. Thank you. When I fall asleep, that'll buy a lot of woofle gas. When I fall asleep watching the stream, my iPad, it keeps repeating awkward moment with a random interval. Super weird. Oh, that's strange. Or does it just keep repeating the end? That is strange. Voltar 2M stereo resin is fine till it's on your hand and its daylight heats up rapidly. Ah, it is an exothermic reaction. One of the things that I should make a video about, perhaps, the research that was done, did I mention this last week, about supermodels using the ultraviolet cured resin fingernail lacquer and getting cancer in their fingers. And they reckon it's caused by ultraviolet light. I reckon it's caused, if that is at all associated with it, it's not just natural things. It might be the fact they dip their finger in acetone to dissolve it, like they've got little cups that their finger is submerged in, and then they paint these light sensitive resins on, and they must get in the skin. And you know that the light sensitive resin can cause sensitization of the skin in the 3D printing. So it sounds to me that it's the chemicals they're using in it. The Pound Town is faked, Eddie Munster. It's based, the Pound Town shop is actually Pound Land. They've changed the text in it. Your cancer's makeup wouldn't surprise me, Weaselbox. The makeup and cosmetic and surgery, it's horrible. Poundland is just part of Pepco. Is Pepco not the clothing brand of Poundland? Not really sure. The stream will end on the past. It'll go on till at past. It'll end on a woofle. Mike and Co, you've been practicing your ukulele. Interesting. Do you have access to this fire gel that stunt workers use? Not really, no. I could buy it, Palmet, but I mean, you can buy it. MD can go and buy fire gel, but I'm not really sure what I could really use that on. I got a wart on my finger from 2-part glue, really? Was that coincidence, or do you think it was actually something else? No, sure. Star Power went wrong by saying that its body resistance of 100,000 ohms. On dry skin it could be, but at low voltage test. He also mentioned that, you know, it's voltage dependent. I mean, my body resistance right now, if I grab the meter, I've got fairly hardish dry skin, I think. Let's put this up to 200 megohms. Right. Can I just put this in the pocket or something like that? I shall put it in here. Is it going to fit? Right. And then I shall grab the probes gently. Between the fingers, what's that? That's actually quite low. That's actually quite a low resistance, much lower than I was expecting at the moment. With the dry skin, usually I have to squeeze them to get a reading. I must be super moist at the moment. I'm moist. Okay, that's quite low. That doesn't bode well for safety, does it? Oh, hold on though. Let's go down to here. Okay. But that was the 200 megohm. Let me just double check that. 2.2 megohm. Let's go down to 200k, which is what you're saying that he said his was about 100,000 ohms. So that's the 200,000 megohm, 200k range. Holding the probes, nothing. But if I squeeze them really tightly, it could go down into it. But not very well. It's all voltage dependent. With the UV light and those things non-ionizing, it's non-ionizing. It's a UVA, if even that far. It's not UVB or C. It's only beyond C it starts becoming sort of ionizing level. Technical, what is the biggest value resistor you own? Nuts and proud. 10 megohm. Why is the 4.7 above the 10? Oh, that's because the Manx Beard Club have been swapping drawers, isn't it? But yeah, 10 megohm is the highest value of stock as standard. Drink more Jaeger to see the values change. Licking the fingers would change it. This is why when people get wet, people get overused to getting tingles and working live and, you know, being immune to electric shock. And then they go into a wet environment, they're standing in wet ground and they grab hold of something and have a little incident. And suddenly they find that wet hands and wet ground makes a huge difference. It's where basically milliamps turns into amps suddenly and they can't let go. That'll do at the moment. It goes out of sequence here anyway, because once it gets beyond 1 megohm, the decimal system is just kind of goes a bit abstract because of where it is. Yes. Well, it can make a massive difference. It does, Brian Gregory, as people find out the hard way. And suddenly they're in the paper, indeed, Tom Houston. But yes, if you hold, even with dry skin, if the voltage is high enough, it will just punch through. I've seen even Great Scott do a really dumb experiment. He had a variac and it was being turned up and he tried AC versus DC. It was not the correct way to do that test because the insulation can break down suddenly, and the result of that is you're holding it and you feel a tingle, then suddenly it's strong, your hands are clampy and you can't let go. And as it does it, you can see the current climbing and climbing because the insulation of the skin is breaking down. All pretty nasty. Dad will not sleep well tonight, said John Robinson. Why? Serious question. Do through-hole resistors weigh more if they are more highly rated? No, they don't, Palmet. It's literally, the construction of a resistor is a ceramic core with a coating of carbon on it, and the composition of the carbon and the spirals etched round it determine how the resistance is. So 1 ohm resistor will weigh the same as a 10 megohm resistor, typically. Like the bloody electric pictures killing people. What was that? Did you hear about the heavy metal tea runs? Not sure what that is. Greetings, Joe, Chipmunk, HVACR North. Bluto. That is Bluto up there. He thinks an Arduino is basic electronics. I suppose in a sense it is. It's an introductory platform but it's still very useful. It's good. The MOT burning wood stuff, that's horrific. Just really absolutely terrifying. Some of the things I've seen, videos I've seen of like kids or the way people are holding it, it's like a horror show. You wonder, are they still alive? This is Bluto. Otherwise, known as Brutus, I think the name changed at points, but it's Bluto. Oh, there's another porn thing. Hold on, I'll get this one. Oh, no, I was too late. Chipmunk got it. In school, we made continuity tests that used a neon and 2 resistors. You could hold each lead, the neon would light, and you felt nothing. It doesn't take much current to light a neon. Do you ever salvage copper for cash? Not really, largely because there's not much copper about these days. All the stuff I get is like wire with aluminium in it. Supposedly a lot of dark chocolate seems to contaminate heavy metals. Oh, I don't really know. I've linked your vid to so many people think about burning wood, scary stuff. Well, it's good that you linked it, Mike and Co, so they can see the reality and how it's potentially going to kill them, hopefully saving lives. Thank you, I am the Beelzebub. Much appreciated. Mike Lad, I'm back. Just been measuring my socks 40mm. What? Anon, why don't you move to real Britain? I travel backwards and forwards, it's fine. Real Britain? Is there a real Britain? Is it normal that AliExpress UV and colour changing LEDs only draw about 20 milliamp by themselves? The colour changing ones will have limiting, but not the UV, really. Do you know if they have resistors built in? Depends what type of UV you're talking about, but the UV ones should normally have a resistor. Are they swatted before we see them? Possibly, Star Delta. If they jump on it quite quickly, it removes them. What I see here is the message showing, blah, blah, blah was removed by Chipmunk or whoever. Hellbound, I learned the hard way that my power inverter had a hot chassis due to a pinhole in one of the silicon insulators. What a nice little electric shock I had off that. It happens, yes. Will the car of the future going to be electric? I think so, Dan Dinker, once they've resolved all the issues, but it's not going to happen very quickly. Ah. So just trying to see. Did you read about that radioactive capsule in Australia? I didn't, Pool Paul. What was that? Dunno. Every car ad I've seen this week is for electric or hybrid. They seem very fashionable, Weezabox. We'll let the markets calm down first. I'll tell you what, though. Have you seen the cost of a company van these days? It's astronomical. Someone talked about selenium rectifiers. There's a selenium rectifier in here. I made a video about the smell of selenium rectifiers, how they're made and how they fail. They're terrible. It smells like fart, like an egg farted in a sulfur factory. I've got red 1 hertz, red blue, working at less than 2 milliamp. They will operate at very low current, George Spilling. They'll usually stay active down to a fraction of a milliamp. Cesium 137 capsule lost. Oh, they found it. Oh, they actually found it. That was in a shipment, wasn't it? That one of the capsules fell off it. That's a bit scary. I'm glad they found it. And because remember the one about the people who got the lump of radioactive material out the medical equipment that had been abandoned, and in a scrapyard they found that it was sparking when they hit it, and they all took it home because it glowed in the dark, and it caused so much radioactive poisoning. Awesome. The grid won't accept that many cars out and upgrade, no. And the smart meters will be used. They are going to charge us all for the upgrade of the electrical grid. It should have been upgraded on an ongoing basis, but it's been bought by companies that are now expecting government funding to upgrade the grid that they were supposed to be upgrading on an ongoing basis. Yes. The egg fart in a sulfur factory is derived, Jeffrey Waldo, from it was Family Guy, where they go into an old folks' home and it's like, what's that smell? It's like an egg farted in a sulfur factory. That was cobalt 60. Selenium is quite important in trace levels, Dennis, as a mineral for your health. Why does the grid need upgrading? They can upgrade it relatively easily, in a sense, Brian Gregory, by increasing the height of the poles and using bigger insulators and then stepping the voltage up to the transformers. But it needs upgrading because suddenly electric cars are drawing a lot of current. And if everybody in a street plugs an electric car in, it's much more than the street would even have drawn normally, just spread over a typical evening. It's a huge load. It's significant. Capsule not found, Alex Barton. I hope some innocent person doesn't find it. They used to use quite hot sources for measuring the thickness of moving steel sheet and steelworks. They had their own radiation-proof lab and storeroom for the sources. Oh, I never saw that mouse at Steelworks, don't know. What about the wind scale meltdown? Not sure about that. Talking about wind, though, I did notice that even on calm days, Scotland has wind turbines all over it now, and they're always giving it big licks, and even what seem like fairly calm days, it must just be the wind giving inertia to the rotors in bursts, I'm not really sure. But certainly Scotland exports a lot of energy. But it's tied, it's crippled by English regulations on how it can export energy, apparently. Because England uses more energy than it generates. Oh, do you know, the newspaper, the free newspaper, basically just manipulation stuff came through letterbox today. And it's saying, hey, you can make the Isle of Man prosperous because we're thinking of drilling for oil offshore on the Isle of Man. And it will make the Isle of Man so prosperous. Didn't work for Scotland, did it? All the money went to England. Where do you think this money's going to go? Yes. That was a political rant. The cost around my EV car is now about the same as my diesel car, Duncan Holloway. Maintenance will be a lot more expensive though. They'll always compensate. When I got my diesel vans in the early days, it was really cheap to use them. The fuel was a lot cheaper than petrol. And then they brought the price of diesel up so they could make the money out of it. Electric cars will be the same. You're not getting something for nothing. The only people that benefit is the people in at the beginning, and then they'll find a way to tax people for electricity for the cars, probably by putting the price of everything up. One dozen jumbo chicken wings in the air fryer, the Scruff Dog. What, for you? Just for you, Scruff Dog? A dozen, you greedy, greedy, greedy Scruff Dog. Making me hungry, though. Ah. Let me scroll up and down here. $12 is a serving. Reasonable enough, Chow North Air Guns. And to be fair, it is chicken, so it should be fine. That's proud. I like 18 nuggets with ketchup and insulin. Lovely. Scruff can cook steako. Absolutely. I just stick everything in the air fryer weasel box. I said to Ralph, you should try my air fryer while I'm away, because you might like it. And I suggested you actually consider buying one. And of course, Ralph had to go over the top. He's bought the family-sized digital computerized one, doesn't? And I say, like, so show me the features. Oh, fuck no, I just turn it on. It's like, oh, his usual. Go for the luxury one, but never actually read the manual. Graham Rule is off to the pub. Enjoy your drink. I still need to buy an air fryer, John Robinson. Asda has them for about 40 quid, which is stunning. It's very good. The Aussie radioactive pelts found. Oh, that's a good GS1512, as long as it didn't get into the wrong hands. What will your after stream snack be? I had a pizza before the stream, Craig Matthews. It may be just air fry potato chunks. Not decided. It's wiffle time. It's actually past end of stream time. I've been distracted. After the stream has ended, in the chat here, I'll give you the statistics of the stream. How many people view it concurrently and so on. Woofle. Oh. Do it slowly. And another. Woofle. And that concludes the stream, I think. But I'm just about to release a video on Patreon about the pink lamp. And to be honest, the Thursday Patreon streams, it was supposed to be every second Thursday. It somehow ended up every single Thursday. It's just a standard thing now. They're very quiet. Versus typically about 1,000 people here. 1,006 at the moment. The Patreon will be close to about 100. So the chat is so much slower. But anyway, the chat is the stream is coming to an end. So soak your feet after dinner. Scruff Dog, reasonable enough. Relax in the computer with your feet soaking in front of the computer. That really passes the time while your feet get comfortable. What's the pink bulb video post to YouTube? I'm not really sure, because I'm actually a bit far ahead with videos. So it will get there in the end. There's lots of videos to come out before it though. But anyway, Norm Swan, diesel pollutes horribly, no future with it. It does have fine particulate. They've overcomplicated diesel engines as a result of that. It's not great. But electric is the way to go, I think, in the future. Anyway, I shall catch you next week. Until then, have a good week and don't work too hard.